I want to take you to a place you wouldn't expect to be connected to one of California's most chilling crimes, Napa Valley. Usually, when you hear that name, you picture vineyards, wine tastings, and quiet golden hills. But on Halloween night in 2004, the small city of Napa woke up to something unimaginable, something that shattered that peace forever. This is the story of the Napa Valley Halloween Massacre, a night that left two incredible young women dead and a community asking, how could this happen here? And as you'll see, sometimes the scariest monsters are the ones we already know. It was Halloween night, 2004. Three friends, Leslie Mazzara, Adrian Insonia, and Lauren Mayanza, lived together in a home on Dorset Street. Leslie and Adrian were passing out candy to trick-or-treaters that night. Lauren, it seems, had gone to a Halloween party. After trick-or-treating was over, the night was quiet, the kids had gone home, the porch lights were off. At some time, Lauren makes her way home. All the roommates are in their beds, sleeping or near sleep. But around 2 a.m., something or someone broke that silence. Lauren woke up to the sound of glass shattering, then a scream. She was on the first floor bedroom. Her roommates were upstairs on the second floor. She heard footsteps upstairs, heavy and frantic, and then another scream. She froze, listening, her heart pounding. She was brave. She started to walk towards the sounds, and then she froze when she heard the footsteps sounding like they were coming downstairs. She made a split-second decision to do what most of us would do, and she ran. She ran out the back door trying to beat the intruder. She hid outside, not sure where he was, terrified, waiting until the noises stopped. She thought it sounded like the intruder left out a window. After waiting a while, when everything was quiet, she made the brave decision to go back inside to check on her friends. She went upstairs to Leslie and Adrian's bedrooms, and the sight that she saw was horrific. Her two friends had been stabbed in their beds. Adrian, though, was still alive, pleading for help. After seeing that her friend needed help desperately, Lauren ran out with her phone, got in her car, and called 911 as she was driving away. She still wasn't sure where the intruder was. Talking to 911 and telling them the information that she knew, the 911 operator was shocked that she had left the house and told her to go back. And she did. First responders arrived, police arrived, and they just could not save Adrian. Both of Lauren's roommates were gone, and she didn't have the slightest idea of who could have possibly done this. The investigation kicked off with a sense of urgency and confusion. Police found blood evidence on a window and several cigarette butts outside. The cigarette butts held DNA that didn't match any of the victims. The police conducted over 1,500 interviews, and they collected hundreds of DNA samples from everyone, from friends, coworkers, neighbors, anyone they could think of. Police detectives soon learned that Leslie had two suspicious ex-boyfriends. She had a college ex-boyfriend that she broke up with, and after the breakup, he seemed to be obsessed with her, even going so far as setting up a website tribute page that was all about Leslie. Another ex-boyfriend had been contacting her recently, but even more curious, the father of this ex-boyfriend was contacting Leslie a lot and had tried to make contact with her the night of the crime. Adrian had an ex-boyfriend who was woken up in the early morning hours after the crime. Police went into his house and woke him up out of sleep. And when he found out what had happened, he did tell officers that he had a knife in his room, and they had him produce the knife. They took that knife, they took his clothing, and they even took his bedding. But all of that turned out to be nothing. Leslie was a former beauty pageant winner, former beauty queen, and her mission through that endeavor was to focus on helping needy children and doing social work. Adrian, I believe, was an engineer, and she had a best friend named Lily. And after this tragedy, Lily and Adrian's mom, Leslie's family, the whole community came together to try to investigate and solve what had happened to these girls. Lily's boyfriend Eric, Adrian's mom, Leslie's family, they were all super involved, scouring the town, posting flyers. The investigators took the common approach of holding back a critical piece of evidence, and it was the brand of the cigarette butts that were found outside of the home under the window. And it was a very unique brand of cigarette. It was the Camel brand Turkish Gold. It was so rare, in fact, that the stores in the area said they would maybe only sell a pack or two a week. While the police were focusing on the evidence collected, Adrian and Leslie's friends contacted a psychic, a team of psychics that worked together. And the friends actually convinced the police to try that unconventional approach. The psychic was able to give the name Lily, and no one could make sense of that. Why would the psychic be focusing towards Lily? And they also created a sketch of a man, and that sketch was posted around town. When the sketch led nowhere, police finally decided to release the brand of the cigarette butts to the public. And that is when the case was finally able to crack open. At this point in the story, I want you to think, who do you believe the perpetrator is? Do you think it was Leslie's ex from college with that psycho website tribute to her? Leslie's ex-boyfriend's father, who was kind of creeping, trying to communicate with her all the time? Leslie's ex and his dad together, or just that ex that was also trying to communicate with her? How about Adrian's ex, that they woke up out of his sleep? He had a knife. Anyone else related to any of the victims? Or do you think it's just a random stranger? I will say that when I was watching some other episodes about this, the police right away said that they did believe that it was someone in their inner circle. That's why they were so focused on their community, their immediate friends, their immediate relatives, past relationships. They said, the police here in Napa Valley and the investigators said that when they see a crime like this that's so vicious, they immediately think that it is someone connected to the victims. So in chat, let me know if you want to take a guess. If you know this case already, don't put any spoilers, please. And then we'll continue and find out who done it. So at this point in the case, we have a sketch that has been put out to the public. The police officers have a DNA profile that they developed to know that it was a male, blondish hair, blue eyes. They had a very unique brand of cigarette. And even when they released the brand of the cigarettes, I don't know if anybody immediately came forward, but the police also were canvassing still and speaking to people. But ultimately, when they went back and spoke to Lauren again, and they just kept asking her, about smokers she knew, and she said, well, the only person I can think of that smokes cigarettes is Lily's boyfriend, Eric. So the police go back and they find out that somehow Eric, Lily's boyfriend, even though he was super involved with the case, somehow managed to avoid all the swabbing that they were doing to the community members and all the friends and family. He was never swabbed for DNA from the police. So all of that information gets out. The pressure gets to Eric. He knows he's caught. He goes and turns himself in. He did smoke Turkish Gold cigarettes. And what had happened was Eric had been engaged to Lily, the name that the psychic gave. And Lily was one of Adrian's closest friends. Lily had broken off the engagement with Eric right before Halloween, and they were supposed to get married on November 1st. So they had broken up because Eric had a drinking problem. The night of Halloween, he confronted Lily at that Halloween party. They both ended up at the same party, and witnesses said that he confronted her. He was demanding a new wedding date, and she turned him down. He left the party. He went home super angry and rejected, stewing in resentment. And he also had long blamed Adrian for interfering in their relationship because she was so super close with Lily. She had even had a trip planned to go with Lily to Australia at the end of November. So they were supposed to be married November 1st. And then at the end of November, Lily was supposed to leave with Adrian to go on this girls' trip that they had been planning forever. So Eric, with all that rage, left his house that night and went to go attack Adrian, and poor Leslie was also there. Before anyone knew the truth, Eric wasn't hiding in the shadows. He was standing beside Lily, helping with the investigation. He attended vigils, comforted families, and acted as a pillar of support. And that's how he was able to sneak on by. By February of 2005, and the murder happened on October 31st, 2004, Lily and Eric had gotten back together. When he finally turned himself in, his family stood by his side, and so did Lily. It wasn't a dramatic arrest. It was quiet, calm, and heartbreaking. Even in court, Lily stood by him. During her victim impact statement, she professed her love for him, the same man who had taken her best friend. Eventually, she divorced him after his sentencing. Eric took a plea deal for life without parole, a decision supported by both families because they wanted him to suffer for a long time. They did not want him to have a quick death. They wanted him to stay in prison and just suffer, the families of the victims. Eric gave a remorseful statement, wishing he could undo what he had done. The courtroom fell silent. The case was over. But every Halloween in Napa still carries a chill, a reminder that darkness can live in even the most peaceful places.